All right, for more on this intense legal debate surrounding this case, our best legal minds are here. Let's bring in Avery Friedman, a civil rights attorney and law professor, and Richard Herman, a criminal defense attorney and law professor. Good to see you both.
Bye,
okay, so Richard, you first. Do you think Rodney Reed's attorneys, have come up with enough evidence to warrant putting his execution on hold?
Well, you said, Fred, it's an intense legal debate, and it sure is. The conviction was 23 years ago.
Yeah.
Since that time, 20 review judges have looked at this case for reversible error and have found nothing. A lot of these arguments the government and prosecution is saying is just recycled and have been presented as recently as 2015 and rejected by the courts. I'm seeing everything, and I'm not sure specifically of the timing of all these events, whether it was the admission in prison by the bunkmate, the Aryan Brotherhood bunkmate, or it's the acknowledgement by the pathologist that the DNA was faulty concerning the timing of when this incident took place. The prosecution said all within 2 hours, and if the DNA is different, then it's impossible to be within 2 hours. So there's a lot of evidence that's been put forward, Fred. I'm not sure if it's just all recycled or if it's really new. And if it is new, it would seem to me, Fred, that, to stay this execution for 30 days and give him one more hearing to just flesh all this out, to ensure that everything has been on the record in this case. And again, 23 years, 20 appellate judges have looked at this and found nothing. It couldn't hurt to do that, Fred, considering the man's life is on the line. So, I'm from New York. Right. I think they should do it. This is Texas. That's where they execute more people than anybody. And this governor in 5 years has only commuted one execution. So it's going to be a tough climb here.
All right, Avery, how do you see it?
Well, I'm glad Richard's from New York, which has a lot to do with this, of course. Look, at the end of the day, the bottom line is you do have new evidence. And it was 12 days ago that the prison mate, the bunkmate, came out with the statement, the admission. And let me tell you something. I'm in agreement with Richard that with respect to the DNA, you have 4 forensic experts. And even though it's been examined, when you look at the totality, I think it's right. There is no rush to judgment after 21 days on death row, 21 years on death row. At the end of the day, there is no harm if we examine the new evidence to see if, look at the alternative. Lethal injection is finality. Let's take a look at the evidence. And in that respect, Frederica, I think we're in agreement.
And included in that evidence is this, new testimony, or at least accounts as to what they believe they heard from the fiance, Fennell, Richard.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, Fred. And the government and the state is saying, listen, we put on a strong case. We gave DNA evidence. We gave 6 different women came in and testified that Reed had sexually molested and attacked him. Now, it shows a pattern and practice of him. There were no convictions, but at least they came in and said that. It was a strong case. It's 23 years. There's going to be finality, but for 30 more days, Fred, it just seems common sense. Common sense. Have one more hearing, have a judge make a ruling. If any of this is credible, is the Aryan testimony credible, and can hold up the cross-examination?
That should be examined, right.
Give them 30 days, and then if not, it's what it is. It's not a moral debate on death penalty here. Those are the rules in Texas.
Also, a bipartisan group of 26 Texas lawmakers urging Texas Governor Greg Abbott to delay, this November 20th execution. And the online petition to stop it now has more than 2 million signatures, and the list of celebrities speaking out is growing. Here was Oprah Winfrey making her own personal plea this week.
I think at least the governor has to pause and look at the 2 million people who have signed a petition. That's 2 million voices saying, listen to us, something's off here, something needs to be done.
Yeah,
so Governor, if you're watching, hello, I think this is a sign you're supposed to at least not execute, but look at it.
So, Avery, how influential is this, celebrity factor?
To the Texas law enforcement people, a great big bowl of nothing. To be honest with you, nobody cares about Kim Kardashian. Nobody cares about Oprah Winfrey. And while it's very important to consider in the court of public opinion on the tough legal issues here, and you talked about this intense legal debate, let's look at the evidence. Let's look at the new evidence. Take the time and make that decision based on evidence instead of rushing to judgment. That's justice. That's truth. That's what should be done here.
And Richard?
Fred,
yes.
Yeah, Avery's wrong. The governor has to run for election. So the citizens vote for him. And the fact that all these celebrities are reaching out and they may hit voters, you don't know. It puts a lot of pressure on the governor. We
Pretty
saw that.
cynical answer.
We saw that in New York.
Cynical answer. I don't buy it.
With the officer and the choke case. It puts a lot of pressure. So it is effective, I think, Fred. And I think ultimately, cooler heads will prevail here. I think they'll give him one more hearing. At least I would expect that. That seems reasonable to do that.
Right. All right. Well, we shall see. Avery and Richard, always good to see you. Thank you so much.
Good to see you.
You too,
Take
Fred.
care.